Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video I'm going to be doing something a bit different. So I've had a couple of people ask me after I posted my last video, which was my 1 year guitar progress video. I had a couple of people ask me like how you'd very first start, because that last video that I posted I'd already been playing for a while before that. Yeah, so people wanted to know how you very first start when you first ever pick up a guitar. So I thought I'd make a video on how I first learnt. Now this could be a complete wrong way of learning, but I'm just showing you what I did personally on how I learnt to play, and in no way am I a pro or anything like that. I feel like I'm still actually in my beginner stage of guitar. So anyway, I thought I would show steps and things I did when starting and things I did that were sort of like a bad habit, so things to not do. And then I've also got some tips that I will share with you all at the end. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. So this is how I learnt how to play a guitar. Okay, so one of the first things I ever did, it was actually my dad. He plays guitar, so he's the one that taught me sort of my first little things that I learnt. I've wrote this all down so I don't forget anything. The first thing I kind of learnt was there was a few little things that my dad had taught me, but when I first sort of started getting serious, the first things I learnt were like basic chords. So so the first chords I learnt was like an A, and then like G and C. So yeah, basically I learnt them 3 chords first, and I know at first when you first pick up a guitar it is really hard to actually like get your fingers to sort of stay. So get sort of the hang of holding the chords and then sort of strum away, and then I learnt how to change. So I learnt how to change between them 3 chords. Another thing I'm going to mention quickly is guitar picks. So when I first started I could never ever use a guitar pick. So I didn't start using a guitar pick for like the whole first time I picked up guitar when I was about 12 or something. I played probably for about a year and I never ever used a guitar pick at all, because I found it so hard and felt like I couldn't control what strings I was hitting. So I've only in the past year have taught myself to use a guitar pick. So I would say that if you're going to start out, I would start out with a guitar pick, and because I had to kind of, everything I'd already learnt to play without one, I had to relearn to play with one, and it made it quite difficult. Okay, so once you finally get the hang of doing them 3 chords, what I did then was started to learn some more chords. So so D and E were probably the next one. So D and then E, and yeah, I did the same thing. Oh, also I should mention, when I was first starting as well and learning chords and everything like that, I started off with guitar like lesson books. So these are a few that I learnt with. So they tell you, like, there's like chord progressions and stuff like that in there. Fuck, I can't stop coughing. So they teach you like sort of how to transition from chords and everything like that. So I found them really good. Okay, and after you've learnt them chords, then there's a few more difficult chords like F, which you can hold like that, or you can hold it as a bar chord, and then B, but I'd leave F and B until later on. The next chords I learnt was the minor chords, so like A minor, D minor, E minor. So So basically that's how I first began, is I just learnt a few chords at a time and just practiced them over and over and learning to transition. It does take a lot of time to learn guitar and get the hang of it when you're very first starting, and you will get really sore fingers as well, but if you kind of just play through the soreness, it does get better. Okay, so one of the first things I ever learnt to play was something that my dad taught me. This is probably back before I ever even learnt chords. It's a part of the dueling banjos. It's just a small part. I still haven't learnt the rest of it, but this was probably the first thing I'd ever learnt to play, and I actually used to play it with my guitar laying flat like this. It took me ages before I could actually stand the guitar up and play it, so. And then I remember the other thing that that my dad taught me, that was one of the first things I ever learnt to play, was, I think it's like a 12-bar blues kind of thing. So it goes like this. I remember Dad used to play it and I used to think it looked cool when he used to play it. So I was like, can you teach me that? And back then I used to think it looked really hard to play. But so this is it. Something really good because you're using all your fingers. This is the next thing that I learnt to do, and which I still do now. So in one of the books or DVDs or something that I was reading, he called it the caterpillar, and a lot of people probably know what it is. And what you do is you just, I start from the bottom. I don't think it really matters, but you just sort of start, it doesn't matter what fret. I usually do it on the 5th. So you just strum that while keeping all your fingers down. So you go like 5, 6, 7, 8, then up to the next string. 5, 6, 7, 8. It's harder coming back down, but that's a good thing to learn because it gets all your fingers sort of, it builds strength and also speed, and it gets all your fingers sort of doing their own thing. And once you get used to using the guitar pick as well, if you alternate pick it, so like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, like that on every single pluck. Sometimes I just sit on the lounge, watch TV, like not have the guitar plugged in, and I'll just sit there like doing this the whole time. So I think it's a really good finger exercise to practice. When I first started doing that, it was really difficult, so you might find it quite difficult to start with, but it does get easier as you go. So that's basically how I started, and they're the things that I used to practice, just strumming them chords, doing that caterpillar kind of thing. And then I used to print guitar tabs all the time off the computer and just start to learn different things as well, which helps. What I'm going to talk about now is bad habits that I done when I was learning that were things that were hard to get out of. So if you can not do these kind of things to start with, then that'll make it a lot easier. So the first thing, well, I've already talked about it, not using a guitar pick, so then I had to relearn everything that I'd already learnt with a guitar pick. So that's number one, a bad habit that I'd done. The second one was having the guitar laying down. So that took me a while before I was able to stand it up again and play it properly. And the next one is not using all my fingers. So I never ever used to use my pinky for anything. And that got really hard because all my other fingers were like strong enough to sort of play different things, but then my pinky, I couldn't use my pinky because I'd been playing things for so long. But you need it for songs that are really stretched out, you need it. I've got a couple of riffs here that I think are really good to learn, because it does use all fingers, or if not all, it sort of stretches your fingers out and learns to kind of get strength in your fingers, I would say. So I feel like these are good riffs to learn to get your fingers sort of working. So the first one is Beat It by Michael Jackson. So you're using all your fingers in this, and it's not a very hard riff either. So as you can see, I use my pinky and everything, and that really gets your fingers working. So that's a good riff. So if you look up the tabs to that, it's quite easy as well. The next one, a few people might not know this, but it's a Blink-182 song, and it's called Stay Together for the Kids. I haven't got this one absolutely perfect, but I only just learned it not long ago, but it's good because it also stretches your fingers out and uses all of your fingers. So I'll see how I go with this one. I still need to practice that one a bit more, but that one's good to learn as well. That one's a little bit more difficult though. That 12-bar blues thing that I showed you earlier is really good practice to get your fingers moving. I'm not sure where you'd find a tab for that, but I can write it down or something if anyone wants it. The next one I would say is Enter Sandman by Metallica. So that one sounds like this. So that's another one, a really cool sounding riff, but it's also quite easy to play. Okay, I've got one more riff here that is Nirvana, Come As You Are. This one gets a little bit confusing when you're learning it, but once you get the hang of it, you don't even need to sort of think about what you're doing. So that one sounds like this. So that's another easy one. There's probably a lot more easy riffs and that to play, but I'm just trying to think off the top of my head of what I can play to show you. But yeah, so just look for like little riffs and stuff like that that you can practice that does stretch all your fingers out. So now I'm going to tell you what my tips are. Tip number one, okay, you don't need to buy an expensive guitar straight away. I don't have it here, but I was going to show you the guitar that I learnt to play. It's a really cheap electric guitar. I think the brand is SX or something, and it's really cheap. I only got this guitar, and this guitar is not that expensive either, but it's really nice compared to my first one. In saying that though, you want to make sure, or a lot of the cheaper guitars, the action, which is how close the strings are to the fretboard, when you're learning to play, you want them absolutely, not even just when you're learning, just as a guitar player, full stop. You want your guitar strings to be like as close to the fretboard as you can, so you can kind of do these fast movements and not have to push down so hard. So even if you can get a cheap guitar and then like modify it, kind of, if you can move the strings down any lower. The guitars I used to play, the action was so high, and I was like, why is this so hard? Like, why is guitar so hard? And I didn't realise that the strings had to be lower. So yeah, so make sure the strings are as low to the fretboard as possible. It makes it so much easier. My next tip is learn bar chords only once you've nailed normal chords. So don't try and get ahead of yourself and start learning bar chords, because it's going to be like nearly impossible. You want to make sure you like nail just the normal chords first, and then once you feel like your fingers are strong enough or whatever, then move on to bar chords. Okay, next one is practice every single day for at least 30 minutes. Some days I don't practice for 30 minutes, but I would say to try and pick it up every single day if possible. Some days I I only pick it up for about 10 minutes, but I still try and pick it up. Even if it is only 10 minutes, I still try and pick it up every single day. With a guitar pick, me personally, and I find it a lot easier for me, is a really soft one. So a tip was to use a soft guitar pick, but I don't know, if a harder one you find easier, then whatever. My next one is to do that caterpillar thing that I showed earlier by moving up the strings. Try and do that every single day to build your strength and your speed as well in your fingers. My next one is just stick with it. Like if you don't practice all the time, you're not going to improve. And I know if you don't see improvement, I know it can be kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, you can get like sort of down if you're not improving, but honestly you need to practice all the time to be able to improve. So okay, my next tip is to learn to play easy solos to get your fingers moving. Okay, next one is when learning songs, start off slow. You don't have to play to the song's speed straight away. It could even take you a week before you get it any faster. Like, just be patient and play slow when first learning. And learn parts of the song at a time as well. This is what I do. So I will learn one little tiny section, like the intro or something, and then I will play that over and over and over and over, even if just the intro takes me a week before I get it semi-good. So you want to learn little bits at a time, get that part really good, and then once you feel comfortable with that part, then move on to the next little part. That's how I do it anyway, and I find that's like a good way to learn things. So my next one is take videos of yourself from the beginning. So then you can, when you very first start, just take random videos of yourself. So then that way in like a month or two, you can look back and you can see your improvement. Okay, my very last tip is when learning songs, like rhythm kind of songs where you're just strumming chords and everything, if you're unsure of the strumming pattern, sit and listen to the song. I do this with every single song I learn. I'll sit there and play it. Like on the computer or something, I'll listen to it and then sort of work out the strumming pattern as I'm going. I find that's the easiest way to learn how to strum it, is by listening to it. So yeah, that's I think when learning a song as well, what I do is to build your speed up so you can get, I'm gonna cough again. To build your speed up and everything, I think the best way is to slowly start. Once you sort of get the hang of something, listen to the song and try and play along with it, and that'll build your speed up as well. Okay, so that is everything. I think I've covered everything that I do to learn different things. If I have missed anything, or if you have any questions, just leave them down below, and if I get enough questions, I may do a Q&A video. Or if not, leave some questions on my Instagram, which I will insert somewhere. The link is always down below to my Instagram anyway. I post guitar videos on there like quite a bit, so you can always find me there. Yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!